what's your name? Step into the ring of fame. Gene Genie calling your game. Cal Halbert in the Hall of Flames. Masks and capes, they're all the same. Heels and faces play the game. Pile driver, heartbeats claim. Cal will put you in the frame. What's your gimmick? Let it show. Genie wants to know. In the spotlight, let it flow. Cal Halbert, steal the show.
Hello and welcome to What's Your Gimmick, the podcast where I, Cal Halbert, aka the Great Genie, ask my friends the ultimate questions on their rise through their potential wrestling careers. On the show today, I've got the one, the only Twitch streamer, StuartYeah, everybody.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
My pleasure. Thank you for doing it. I wanted to check with your Twitch name as well. Is it StuartYeah or is it StuartYeah LA Night style?
This is something I get asked often, and I would like to have it on record that I had the Yeah name before Eli Drake ever laced up a pair of boots. The origin story of the name is not a massively interesting one. See, I grew up in the time of when Twitter was in its infancy and MSN Messenger, and everyone had really long names with X's and underscores and things like that. And then I thought I just can't be bothered typing in these usernames anymore. I just need something that is memorable. And I got to Stuart, and I sat there and looked in. I was like, yeah, that'll do. And it's stuck for about 15 years now.
I remember, but you're right. MSN used to have such stupid names that people had, and it was all like XO underscore dash.
Yeah.
XO again. I don't know. I think my email address was like Viva La Raza 1 or something like that, I think.
Oh yeah. I think the first email address I had was like Stewie99 or something. And I think it was like one of them careers days at school when they were like, you need a professional email address. And I was like, okay, fair enough. And I kind of took that in the worst way, because when I was working in pubs, there was someone that came in with a CV asking if we were having jobs. And I had a look at the email address and it said, Almighty Death Angel at Hotmail. And I was like, I'm really sorry, but we just can't even consider this.
That would do the complete opposite to me. I was like, nah, you've got the balls to hand that in. Yeah,
No, I was like, if I need a proper professional email address, then everyone does. And I think that's going to be a theme, actually, but no spoilers for the gimmick. But
So, Stuart, you are a Twitch streamer that streams wrestling content. What days do you regularly stream?
Regularly. Fridays and Saturday evening from around 9 p.m. and it's mainly wrestling. We do try and squeeze something that's non-wrestling on a Sunday, and if I get time, then we'll do something midweek as well. But the wrestling, the WWE 2K24 on a Friday, and then some retro cuts. At the moment, we're playing Here Comes the Pain on a Saturday, which nice. I'm enjoying all over again.
Did you ever play Crush Hour?
I didn't, but I've got it. In fact, I had a little excursion to CEX the other week, and I was like, right, I need some, because I want the games that I never played before. Like, there's a whole generation of games that I completely missed out on. Everything that came out on the Nintendo 64 and the GameCube, Raw on the Xbox, never played them, and that's definitely something that's on my list and has been on my list for a while. But Crush Hour, I remember seeing an advert for that on SmackDown every Saturday morning. And now is the time that I need to play that. But I've got one better. I've got a Xbox Connect, which costs £1 from CEX. Nice. And Hulk Hogan's Main Event, I think, is called. And it's one of, if not the worst wrestling game ever made.
I don't know. Crush Hour is pretty bad. It's pretty bad. We were really lucky as kids. Like we didn't. I don't know how this happened because we did not have the money for it. But my brother had a PlayStation. He had a PS2, and I had an Xbox. So when games were released,
Oh, that is fancy.
yeah, we were really lucky. How the hell it happened, I have no idea. But they're probably still paying it off now.
Yeah.
One of those. So whenever games were released individually, we could cover both of them. So like, I think WrestleMania 21 only came out on Xbox.
Yes.
And I played that. But the downside of WrestleMania 21, and I had both the Raws, and then my brother had all the Here Comes the Pain, Shut Your Mouth, Just Bring It. And then obviously all the SmackDown versus Raws that went on. But WrestleMania 21 only had one storyline of a year, and then that was it. Like you didn't like that. It wasn't.
I think a lot of them at that point in time did, but like some of them were really immersive. Like Shut Your Mouth and Here Comes the Pain. They were 1 year long storylines.
Yeah,
but sometimes it would mirror what was going on in television at the time. Like I think it was Shut Your Mouth that Vince injected the WWE with a lethal dose of poison and brought the NWO back. But Scott Hall had been fired at the time, so it wasn't Scott Hall. So it was clearly chopped and changed on its way into development and release. But it was good.
it was weird because what I loved about SmackDown versus Raw is you could lose the match and the storyboard would still continue.
Yes.
Whereas WrestleMania 21, you couldn't lose the match. If you lost, it would just go, oh well, try again, and you'd have to just so like the storyboard was in it where you get to WrestleMania and like Michael Cole's going, he's never been defeated. Like, well, because you didn't let me lose.
During our playthroughs, I lose a lot. I'm easily distracted. And I never said I was a good wrestling streamer or a gamer, but I give it a damn good go.
We also used to do this thing, me and my brother, where we would watch The Undertaker's entrance once in full. We'd play as The Undertaker, we watch his entrance once in full, and then from then on, as much as I love you, Taker, it's getting skipped. We don't have 45 minutes to watch you walk to the ring every time we want to play.
No, that literally happened. We are hot off the heels of Bad Blood. We did a Bad Blood watch along. And at 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm not sitting through Charlotte Flair's entrance again. Like, all respect, I'll sit through it once at the start, but not again, I'm afraid. We know how it goes.
Absolutely. Right. So, Stuart, how long have you been a wrestling fan?
A long, long time, since 1999, I want to say. So that was WCW Worldwide on Channel 5, because we did not have the money for Sky Television at the time in our household. But we had, so WCW Worldwide, 99, 2000. But I think my peak fandom as a kid, I think I would have been 8 years old, 2001, 2002, 2003 time.
Yeah. That was about my major time of watching as well.
Yeah.
As I said, we must have got a deal on Sky because we didn't have the sports package. But we had Sky One, and they would do the replays on Sky One on Saturday and Sunday mornings. You'd get the Bottom Line and Velocity and Heat.
Afterburn.
Afterburn. Yeah.
I always have fond memories of WCW. Like, I think I watched more wrestling on VHS than I did on actual television, because it would be a bit of a Friday tradition. Me and my dad would go to Asda or Tesco or whatever. He'd get some like snacks and food and things like that, and I'd be able to pick up a wrestling video. So
you were a cool parent.
I think it's wrestling. I just don't think that parents understood that wrestling was violent, because I think a lot of things slip under the radar. This is what we found with the Vince documentary recently. A lot of things slip under the radar.
Yeah.
We went to a car boot sale once, and there was someone selling about 20 ECW VHS tapes.
Wow.
And my mum just was like, yeah, fine, it's wrestling, whatever. Not looking at it, seeing it was 18 rated. There's people with barbed wire hanging out their foreheads. Like, you just got to wait. It's just, it's fake. It's fine. It's like,
That's
Not.
you can pull the wool over your parents' eyes and go, yeah, it's fine. It's absolutely fine. I remember when John Cena's album came out, when he had and you had the normal version, and then you had the parental guidance version. And I was saying,
Right.
I was like, Mum, can we have this one? It's the same price as the other one, but you get like 4 extra tracks. And Mum was like, well, why? Well, why has it got parental guidance? So I went, I've listened to them online. They just say fuck once, you know, and I was like, yeah, fine. And then you put it on, you go, this is horrific. I should not be listening to this.
See, now I'm starting to think that my parents were a little bit fast and loose with that, because I can remember getting my first album that I got was Limp Bizkit's chocolate starfish and a hot dog flavored water. And that had the one where he said there's 45 fucks in this motherfucking song. Like, yeah.
No, I'm going back to you had cool parents. That's what I'm saying. That's
it was the 90s. It was the Wild West, wasn't it?
Yeah, they barely knew we existed. Parents are too full on these days. That's the problem.
Exactly. It's just to drink and watch films. That's
And who was your favorite wrestler of all time?
Of all time it will change. On each day, it will change. But today, I will say Rob Van Dam. I think Rob Van Dam was unique when he came in. My first exposure to Rob Van Dam was a bit of the VHS, and we picked up the ECW PlayStation 1 game from Woolworths in the bargain bin. Nice. And it was terrible, but RVD was on the front, and he was the only one that actually looked like a wrestler, so he stood out. So and then the first match I ever saw of Rob Van Dam was on an episode of Sunday Night Heat, and it was him versus Jerry Lynn, and it was 5 minutes long. And as a kid that didn't know any better, I was like, this is fantastic. These are two people, they're having a great match. It's 5 minutes long. Brilliant. Did not realize how much of a slap in the face that was to ECW fans who had watched them have 30, 40-minute long classics. And that was just a way of WWE sweeping ECW's legend underneath the carpet. But to me, that was fantastic. Also, his matches with Jeff Hardy were very good as well. I've spoken before about sobriety and things like that. I used to smoke a lot of weed back in the day, and RVD was the cool guy. You'd look at him and go, yeah, he's cool. He smokes weed. He's cool. Whereas now you see people in their 40s and 50s getting into weed, and you're like, that is pretty tragic. Like Val Venus calls himself Captain Cannabis online. It's like, oh, come on, mate. Yeah. I was 16 when I grew out of that.
Yeah, grow up, Val. Come on. Like even as a kid, when he used to whip his towel off, I used to think that's pathetic. You know, even in my head, I would look at him and I go, but he's not a sexy man. I don't get it. Like even as a kid, I would go, I don't get this.
I thought I was quite smart as a kid, and it was only a few years before lockdown. I was like, I'm going to download every episode of Raw from 97 and 98.
Wow.
And I'm going to watch it all. And it was only like the penny dropped only then that I was like, that's a porn star. And that guy is a pimp. What's going on? I was so innocent in my childhood.
It was only about, just before lockdown, probably about 6 years ago, where I only just clicked that Paul Bearer was a pun. That's like, do you know when you go, how have I not looked at that for like, I just didn't click that it's Paul Bearer because he's a Paul Bearer. Oh right, okay, yeah. I feel like an idiot.
It was my dad that clued me up onto that one, because I had never heard of what a Paul Bearer was, and I told him about this person called Paul Bearer, and he just rolled his eyes like he often did with wrestling things. He was like, Paul Bearer.
Whereas I go, no, his name's Paul Bearer. I don't understand what the point. Who is on your Mount Rushmore of wrestling?
So I feel like there's many ways to answer this.
Yeah.
The real Mount Rushmore is the first 4 presidents, isn't it? Or I'm not clued up on American history, but
the real Mount Rushmore is Abraham Lincoln, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and Roosevelt.
Right. So
they're not necessarily in order. I think they're just 4 presidents.
So. Right. Okay. I'm going to answer this as the 4 wrestlers that I when I was growing up were the first four that I saw as you are my favorites. And
Okay.
it's a bit of a mixed bag. So, like I said, WCW, I was enamored with this Kevin Nash character.
Wow.
Again, I feel like maybe if that character came in nowadays, people would roll their eyes at it and go, that's a bit of a tragic middle-aged man trying to pretend to be wrestler. But at the time, I was like, no, he does a big power bomb. He bullies people. He doesn't take shit from anyone. So Kevin Nash would be right up there on that. Similarly with Rey Mysterio. And I feel like I related to both those characters in different ways because I was a big fat child. I was a very large chunky boy when I was younger. So I related to both of them because to adults I was Rey Mysterio. I was smaller and I could take on anyone.
Yeah.
And then when I went to school among my friends, I was suddenly Kevin Nash and I was massive and I towered above people.
It's like it. Yeah, yeah.
And then when we moved into, or when we finally got Sky in 2001, 2002, whenever it was, the first WWE wrestlers I remember looking at and going, you're my favorites, were The Rock and Jeff Hardy. And I feel like a lot of people might say Jeff Hardy just because he was the first wrestler I feel like people looked at him and went, I would like to be you. Even though we are miles apart, I would like to be someone like a Jeff Hardy.
Yeah, I think it's because Jeff Hardy, although compared to us, he is huge, but compared to the wrestlers of past, he didn't look like a superstar. He just looked like a normal bloke, didn't he? Whereas you look at Kevin Nash, he was built like a brick shithouse. And before then, it was Hulk Hogan and Stone Cold and The Rock, who are all huge men. You know, like you look at them and they look like gods, don't they?
Yeah.
Whereas Jeff Hardy, not saying that he isn't massive because he is.
Yeah.
He looked the closest to a normal person as you could be.
Definitely. And it was years later that I realized why they called him the charismatic enigma, because he is an enigma. Because you looked at him and he'd come out and he would do a stupid dance and he'd be like, that is the coolest man alive. And then he opens his mouth and you're like, this man has nothing going on behind those eyes. In the nicest possible way.
Sorry, Jeff. I know you're listening.
Yeah, big fan.
What is your favorite match of all time?
Ooh, it would have to be a TLC match because they were the archetypal sort of car crash spot fest. Almost, you can look at their matches and say they have inspired a generation of what we see now. Like the same people, the tribalists that will look at AEW and say that isn't wrestling. Were probably the same people like zoomed in, focused on what them TLC matches were. But my favorite TLC match was actually TLC 4, which is the one that was on Raw. And it was Kane by himself. It was meant to be Kane in the Hurricane, but it was Kane by himself versus Bubba and Spike, Jeff Hardy and RVD, and Chris Jericho and Christian. So it was one each of the original TLC teams with a different partner.
Nice.
And Kane. And then at the end of that match, that's when Triple H comes out and announces that he knows about Katie Vick. But no one ever remembers that.
You know, I think you've just unlocked a meta, and I'm like, maybe I do remember that. And I was like, oh, vaguely, yeah.
Yeah. 8-year-old me would never have anticipated where that storyline was going. I remember watching that, staying up at 10. It would have ended at midnight, Sky Sports 1 on a Friday evening, and just watched the most incredible spectacle of a match ever. Then Triple H comes out and announces that Kane is a murderer. And I was like, this just got so real. And then it was disappointment from now on. But that moment locked in a bubble will stay with me forever, I feel.
Amazing. And what is your favorite belt of all time? I didn't know WWE that you're not allowed to say belt anymore. You have to say title.
Yeah, belts hold up your pants, don't they?
Always a belt for me.
I think just because it was, and you never forget your first, but the WCW big gold belt.
Big gold.
Because it just looked 100% like it had prestige. Even though when I was watching, you had champions like David Arquette and Jeff Jarrett, but it still looked like it was prestigious.
Yeah, I get it. What do you think of the big gold belt now?
I like it. I like it. I feel like this is almost like the best we could have hoped for in terms of a compromise.
I completely agree.
Because that belt was always going to have the big WWE logo, so they can give it to whatever local sports team they're around at that time.
Yeah.
But also, it has that big gold aesthetic. So I'm happy with it. I like it. I know a lot of people don't.
I hate it. I absolutely hate it, but I also appreciate it's the best I'm ever going to get. You know, it's closest I'm going to get to that big gold belt.
I got so excited the other night though when they announced the Saudi Crown Jewel Championship. Have you seen this?
Yeah.
I was there because Cody had announced earlier in the day or the day before that there was going to be big title implications, and then I see this belt under the cloth, and I was like, they're going to do it. They're going to bring back that winged eagle belt. They're going to do it.
So
and then,
that's what
it was that. And I was like, I can't believe they've done this to us.
That ugly thing.
I hope that blood money was worth it. You know.
Well, Bill Goldberg, I'd love to see Gunther Bill Goldberg, but it does mean though, which I think it'd be great. However, does that mean we are recording on let's have a look at the date, the Monday the 7th. So it is Sami Zayn versus Gunther tonight for the title.
Yes.
So with the build up to Crown Jewel, because they can't have their world champion losing in fucking 40 seconds to Goldberg. You know, they can't have it.
No.
So does that mean the belt's going to be dropped tonight?
I thought about this as well, but for a different reason. Because obviously Sami Zayn is massively over in Saudi Arabia since like things have changed and what have you. And he's come out in Saudi Arabia before and he's been the massive babyface pop like he deserves around the world. But that was something else last time they were in Saudi.
Yeah.
Having him come out as world heavyweight champion, him versus Cody in a bit of a it also would set up the storyline with Kevin Owens, but there's so many ways it can go. I
think, well, wrestling's cool again, isn't it? Maybe cool in inverted commas, but like
we are cool.
It's
everyone else that's not cool.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. But I don't know. And it's got to that point where so many people are watching wrestling now again, and people are going, oh, this is so good. This is so good. And I think I'm getting to the point now, and I can't be the only one, but I've got something itching, like my foot's itching, where I'm going, okay, to me, the WrestleMania XL end was incredible. I felt 9 years old again.
Yeah.
The Undertaker return, and so I was like, oh my God. I stood up, and I was like, I can't believe this is happening. This is the best thing ever. Right, how do we get better? And to me, it hasn't gotten better yet. So, but I don't know.
I really wouldn't be surprised if we see Roman versus Cody 3. That's I honestly where I can see it going. But speaking of feeling like a child again, I had that exact same feeling. Remember WrestleMania 31 when it was Sting versus Triple H?
Yeah.
And then they had DX come out, then the NWO came out, and everyone rolled their eyes at it and they were like, oh, these old men. And I was like, no way. This is the best thing that's ever happened. I had the same thing the other night with Goldberg. A lot of people rolling their eyes were like, oh, not Goldberg. And I was like, yes, fucking Goldberg.
Okay, before we go into our interview, Stuart, a couple of rules. You can enter at any era, at any moment. No wrestler is dead. It is complete fantasy booking, and you can have any wrestler from any era enter your era as well. So that before we go into it. So,
okay, I like that.
Total fantasy booking. So you're coming up to WWE Corporate. You've knocked on Creative's door. We're going to have a look at signing you. Our first question for you, of course, is what's your name?
My name. Now, a little bit of a giveaway to the to the gimmick here. Based solely off of the options that you get on the WWE 2K games when you're trying to pick what the commentators and announce you as. I'm a member of the police force, and I am Sheriff Sweetness.
Sheriff Sweetness.
because alliteration was key. And
Yes.
Sweetness, as soon as I saw it, I laughed. And I was like, that's it. I'm Sheriff Sweetness.
Sheriff Sweetness. Do you know, our eyes are twinkling. We like Sheriff Sweetness already. We like it. And Sheriff Sweetness, where are you billed from?
Oh, I'll be built from London. Like I've come over. I've come over from the mean streets of Notting Hill, and
You're not a New York cop. You're not having it.
no, and I don't carry a gun. Like I've been offered it many times. I was like, no, we don't do that. We don't.
Taser is all I need. That's all it is. From London. Okay, Sheriff Sweetness from London. What's your backstory or your origin?
My shoot or work backstory, because we've got a bit of both.
Let's go for a bit of both.
As a child, like I think like a lot of people, maybe like bullied as a kid, held down, teased, that sort of thing. And instead of trying to rise, this is what I learned from Rob Van Dam's podcast back in the day, or his radio show before podcasts were even a thing, is that there are two types of people in this world. Everyone has bad days, but you're either the sort of person that likes to raise yourself up to other people, or you're the sort of person that likes to drag people down to your level. Sheriff Sweetness is the latter. I have a chip on my shoulder at this point in my life, and I am here to ruin people's day for the pettiest things possible.
Okay, I like it. You're a petty police officer. I personally couldn't see a police officer being petty. I can't see it.
No. And that's what makes me so unique.
Okay, well, this leans on. How do you stand out from other superstars?
Well, I'm going to completely contradict myself here. I don't. And I think that's absolutely fine. Because I'm going to come in an era where we're post the era of people using their real names. We're post the era of reality and everyone's a tough guy and UFC style. I'm just going to fight you and be tough. No, I want to be in an era where it's all characters.
Nice.
I want the
golden era style.
Yeah, golden era, or even ruthless aggression. Because there was a point in the ruthless aggression era where my dream. This is pre-debut, so I'd be coming up through OVW. But I'd love it if I was part of the chip on my shoulder was taken by. I come in at a time after all the good people had left. Like I was on my way to OVW and I was like, oh wow, I'm going to get there and it's going to be like the prototype. There's Randy Orton, there's Brock Lesnar, there's Shelton Benjamin. Oh, this is going to be amazing. And I get there and I'm like, fucking Spirit Squad, what's this? Deuce and Domino, what the hell?
Okay, and what is your superstar's look? Are you going for the American Cop? Are you going to go for the Bobby on the Beat? Is it something completely different?
I would like to be business oriented.
Okay.
In my career, my wrestling gear is going to be very merch heavy. I want the like footballers in the 70s had the really, really tight shorts.
Yeah.
They're almost like the Shawn Michaels referee type shorts.
Okay.
It's going to be that. It's going to leave nothing to the imagination. with some merch as well. And when I was creating the one on 2K24, I had a t-shirt like in the style of NYPD, but it'd be SYPD, StuartYeah Police Department. Nice.
I like it. I like it. And
little nod to the Twitch there.
What colors do you go for?
Sort of like a plain navy, but with a little bit of pink and purple trim, just so it pops out a little bit. But it would be police colors and mainly, UK police colors, maybe even a bit of black and white checkered every now and then, on the arm somewhere.
A neon yellow somewhere.
Yeah.
Somewhere. That's what I like. Okay, cool. And do you have a signature catchphrase or promo style?
Yeah, definitely inspired by. Do you remember Just Joe?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
So Just Joe was Joey Legend, a Canadian wrestler, I believe, and he did a lot of tours of the UK back when I was a kid. So I managed to see this guy live. But I didn't realize that he was with WWE for a bit. And his character he would go around backstage and just be a shit stirrer. Like, he'd be like, oh, I've heard that so-and-so is talking about you. And I'd be that sort of thing. But like I said before, very passive aggressive, very condescending, very trying to drag people down to my level. I think my promo style or backstage promo style would be I would say something derogatory underneath my breath, and then someone would be like, "What?" And I'd be like, "Nothing." And that would be my catchphrase, because the one word catchphrase makes the most money.
Oh, yeah.
Austin had what? Daniel Bryan had yes and no. LA Knight's got yeah, despite what we talked about previously. And I'm going to have nothing. So, and I think that'd be quite good marketing as well. When I come out and I berate the crowd and I say, I'm so over, I can sell t-shirts with nothing on them. Nice. It'd be literally the word nothing.
Love it. Absolutely. You mentioned Joey Legend there, but are there any real life inspirations to your superstar, either wrestling or not?
So I have thought about it as well. Like the film Ready to Rumble. Are you familiar?
I am, yeah.
So the character is very much based off the character Gordy, played by David Arquette, where his character he's the police officer, the son of a police officer, and his catchphrase was, "I will bust you." So I think I'll try that every now and then until I get that cease and desist. But
I don't know. They had a cease and desist for Yeet, and that still carried on.
That's very true. That is very true. Inspiration for the character as well. Colt Cabana had a gimmick. His heel persona was Officer Colt Cabana, and there were times that he would pull that out during Juggalo Championship Wrestling events to berate the audience, because the audience there, they were all on drugs. They were all like getting up to no good, and he would come out and he would be the straight like fun police. And I feel like that's what I like. That's what I want. I want to be the fun police.
Nice. Well, we've decided at Creative, we're very happy with you, and we've decided that you're hired. We want you. We want you signed. No
doubt.
No, it's madness. Who would have thought this would happen? You've made it right home. You've made it. So we've decided, you're signed, but we're going to have a look at your debut. So we want to know, what show do you debut on? Are you SmackDown, Raw, NXT, something completely different? And in what era do you debut?
So there's a little bit of a backstory here, because at one point in time, my character, or Sheriff Sweetness, had a dark match on an episode of Sunday Night Heat from 2003, 2004 era. Okay. And actually, I'll change that. I'll change that to Velocity, because that was the SmackDown one, wasn't it? Yeah. So I'm going to go face to face with John Cena, who is on his run of Velocity matches to try and get him over and make him the big star. We all know that John Cena's big debut, he came out and he said to Kurt Angle said to him, "What is the one quality that makes you think you deserve to be in a ring with me?" And he said, "Ruthless aggression." Whereas he's going to ask me that question, and I'm going to say, passive aggression. And we are going to the passive aggression era of WWE. Passive aggression era. I'm going to really condescending. I'm going to get on the microphone. I'm going to say, "John, I really, really like your jean shorts. Is a very smart choice because it hides your fat ass, John Cena. Really bitchy, really catty, nasty stuff."
The passive aggressive era. I like it. Passive.
That was good, Vince.
Aggression. I do like it. Yeah, that could be on that could be on t-shirts everywhere. Those passive aggression t-shirts. That's
we're printing money.
Show me money. Nice. We're happy. Well, is your standard go-to face or heel?
Got to be heel. When I was thinking about this character, I was like, well, it's got to be a babyface, because I'm the person that's going to stand up for people. I've been bullied as a child. I'm going to have the sympathy from the crowd. And then, you know what? We saw. I don't know if you've seen it, but I watched the Vince McMahon documentary. Yeah. And without going into too much gruesome detail, the origin story of Stephanie and Triple H, and how Triple H did some things to get Stephanie through the drive-through wedding, and it was a criminal act. Let's not beat around the bush here. He's a criminal. Yeah. And then the next night on Raw, the crowd chanted "slut" at Stephanie McMahon, and I watched that documentary and I was like, whoa, this is disappointing, isn't it?
Was really into that storyline as well. I was
Oh
like,
yeah.
yeah, it's screwing over Vince,
Oh yeah.
you go, and you look back. Hindsight's 2020, isn't it? And you look back,
Yeah. Oh,
that was
terrible.
horrific.
Very bad. So it was that moment that I thought, do you know what? My character's getting no sympathy. I'm going to lean 100% into the heel side of things here. If they're not going to give sympathy to Stephanie McMahon, no one's getting sympathy.
Nothing at all. Nothing at all. Okay, so you're straight to heel. Do you have a specific entrance theme or style that you use? Are you a standard ramp entrance? Are you got amazing pyro? Sorry. Are you coming through the crowd? Are you using vehicles? What's happening?
So again, this is business oriented. This is merchandise oriented. The action figure sells for a lot more money if it came with its own Boris bike. So that will be my vehicle entrance. I'll have the high vis, almost like a Stone Cold Steve Austin leather jacket, but that in high vis on the way to the ring.
I like it. I like it. You have to download the app to get onto it, though. Unfortunately.
Oh yeah. I'll have the complete helmet, and then when we come to the UK, they can chant "helmet" at me. Like it will open up all sorts of doors for that. And I was thinking about entrance music, and I don't know if it's in keeping with the heel, but I was like, what sort of entrance music could I have? And the only thing I could think of was "Busted in the Hood" by Cypress Hill. I'd be like. I feel like it's got a nice beat where I can slowly meander on the bike down the ramp, looking at people and people booing at me. So yeah, I'll go for that.
I like it. I'm in. And what type of style do you embody? Are you a high flyer, a brawler, a technician? What are you?
I'm a shitbag heel. I will wrestle like the Miz. I'm not taking any unnecessary risks here. I want a long career. I'm here for a long time, not a good time. So
Yeah.
I'll be taking no risks. There'll be every now and then that I'll tease going up to the top rope. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. No. In fact, my wrestler is not even bothered about winning. Like I said, I'm just here to ruin it for everyone else. Like,
so, I mean, you've kind of answered this question as well, but how do you engage with the audience with your taunts? Are you an engager or an antagonizer?
massively an antagonist. I couldn't think of any sort of like specific promo that I would have for the crowd, but I would definitely channel my inner Rick Rude, who would berate the crowd, berate the local sports teams. It's a real pet peeve of mine, actually, that the local sports team gets mentioned on most shows, and it's like, especially in the UK, we sit there and go, couldn't give a shit about your basketball team, mate, but it's a great way to get heat. So
it is. What is your signature and finishing moves, and what are they called?
So I've written down a few for these, actually. So I've got the Boss Man Slam as a homage to those good men and women in uniform who came before me.
Yeah.
And I would like Michael Cole to say that in full as well every time he gets hit. Like, it's not just the Boss Man Slam, it's the Boss Man Slam as a homage to those good men and women in uniform who came before him. In fact, Michael Cole could say the first bit, and then Taz or Corey Graves or whoever's on commentary with him, they could pick up the next line.
Nice. Like it. It's got to be, for me, Taz and Michael Cole. They're peanut butter and jelly. That's what they are.
Exactly. Yeah. Underrated commentary team as well.
Oh, massively so. Massively.
I've also got, I thought, Asuka, Tajiri, they had the green mist.
Yeah.
So there's nothing stopping me from just pulling out pepper spray.
Pepper spray's a great one.
Pepper spray is a finishing move. Like William Regal had the brass knucks, the pepper spray I can have. And then thinking of a good pun, because all good wrestling finishing moves are based off of puns. 100%. I'm going to go for the police brutality. Now, it could go incredibly offensive with what that move could be, but I'm going to really err on the side of caution here, and I'm going to say that is going to be a big, swift kick to the bollocks.
Nice. The police brutality. Okay. Do you get disqualified with that, or is that a Look, when the ref's not looking, we're going.
That'll be the when the ref's not looking. I'd like mainly heel, but the best characters or the most memorable, in my opinion, anyway, are the wrestlers that can seamlessly switch between the babyface and the heel role.
Yeah.
Eddie Guerrero was the master of it.
Yeah.
The closest we've got in the middle age, the modern age at the currently is MJF. I was very, very surprised with how MJF managed to switch between heel and babyface. And if he turned face again, I think a lot of people will be back on board with him. But it's especially with MJF as well, the he's our scumbag, the poke to the eye, the crowd goes nuts. Like the big swift kick to the bollocks is gonna be over like Rover.
Love it. And what notable weaknesses or vulnerabilities do you have?
So, Sheriff Sweetness is not a fan of John Cena, and the way I've envisioned Sheriff Sweetness, because again, taking inspiration from elsewhere, I was not actually watching at the time, but I do remember they used to show replays on WWE from the Vault, which was on Sky Sports, and every now and then on home media like VHS and DVD. The Kurt Hennig Mr. Perfect vignettes.
Yes.
And they are possibly more memorable now than his actual matches. And he was a phenomenal wrestler.
Incredible.
So I want to bring back that. I want them level of vignettes. And I've got a few ideas for you if I'd like to run them past you.
Yes, please.
So again, I Fun Police. I've been burned, as many people have, by when you walk down the street and then someone waves from a car and you instinctively wave back, and they're not waving at you, they're waving at someone else behind you. And it's the most embarrassing thing. You want the earth to open up and swallow you.
Yeah.
That is illegal to Sheriff Sweetness, and he will see that happening, he will see those injustices happening, and he will stop that car on his little Boris bike, and they will be arrested immediately. As are people who stand in doorways.
Yes.
That could be a vignette. People who don't say thank you when you hold the door open for them.
100%. That's it.
Nothing more infuriating than that.
I don't think you can be a heel with these. I'm in.
Yeah. People, when you're in a long queue and the person in front of you gets to the front of the queue, and the first thing they say to the cashier or the person at whatever restaurant you might be in, they go, no, immediately Sheriff Sweetness pops up around the corner and is like, no, you should know what you're having by now.
Agree.
To the back of the line, or you're going in the back of the car. And lastly, with the vignettes, is going to be people rapping in public.
Oh God,
so that is going to be one of my weaknesses. People rapping. I haven't seen it for many a year. Like, it's been a long time since I was at school, so I don't really move in them sort of circles anymore. But I just remember people rapping, and I was like, "This is terrible. This is cringeworthy. Stop it." So John Cena's rapping. That would be
boxing. Actually, people.
Do you know what? I have literally got that written down. The rapping would make me angry. The beatboxing would paralyze me, like a dog whistle to a dog. I'd be there, almost like catatonic. I would not be able to move. So that would be my big weakness. Would be the beatboxing.
Love it. We're very happy with it. We're very, very happy with it.
I love that we're on the same wavelength with that.
Very pleased. The only one I would add on is people that talk into their phone on FaceTime, have their phone on loudspeaker.
Pointless.
You
might as well just hold it to your face.
It does my head in. I'm all for Sheriff Sweetness. I like him. You're doing a great job on the roster. We're very, very pleased. But what is your ultimate goal? Are you going to be a WrestleMania headliner, a mid-card jobber, a tag specialist, a record setter? What is your ultimate goal?
I feel very much like when Edge was a tag teaming with Hulk Hogan is a nice way for him to get over, to get that rub from people that have come before you. I'd love to be in the third man in the Boss Man and Bull Buchanan stable for a little bit. Yeah. I could be their trainee. Yeah. Like that would be, and then I get promoted up. Just Joe would be a good tag team wrestler as well. Yeah. But ultimately, the ultimate goal, like I said, it's not about wins and losses. It's not about championships. It's about those moments. And I think that my goal would be to get that legacy of
A legacy.
Like Kofi Kingston's legacy, as good as Kofi Mania was, his legacy is going to be them Royal Rumble spots, the Money in the Bank ladder match spots where he would defy gravity and things like that. My moments are going to be the ones where I'm in an elimination chamber match and people are going for pins. I'm breaking up the pins, and they're like, "This is an elimination match. It's in your best interest." To let this pinfall happen. And I'm like, no, I'm here to ruin it for you. I'll run in on matches where I have no stakes, no skin in the game, and I will ruin it for people. I will eliminate people from the Royal Rumble. In fact, that would be my Royal Rumble moment, would be eliminating people while also eliminating myself. It's pointless me even being there. So I'll do sunset flips over the top rope to eliminate people. I'll do spears and dives over the top rope to eliminate people. Stand on the apron, suplex to the outside, eliminate myself. Like, what do you do that for? And I'm like, because it upset you. And that's all I want.
There'll be a top 50. There'll be a video online 10 times when Sharon Sweet has ruined wrestling.
Again, we are monetizing everything we do.
Do you have a match type that you're a specialist in?
Ooh, I think I don't think there would be a gimmick attached to the match. I think I would thrive in a match where disqualifications are in place and I will have to bend the rules for it. But for character and television wise, the Hell in a Cell or the cage match, it almost for a police officer, it's like that almost comes hand in hand. You're locked in a cage, you're the police officer. But no, I'd be shit scared. I'd be absolutely terrified. I'd roll out of the ring before the cage gets lowered down. I'd roll out, I'd be like, no, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. I'd ruin pay-per-view main events. Again, I'd ruin it for the audience as well. I'm here to, My signature match is running away.
We're very proud of you at Creative, and we think you're doing a great job. So we've decided we're going to give you your first title match. Now, you get to choose which pay-per-view do you have your first title match at, and which title is it for? So,
again, I feel like the only title that would really suit Sheriff Sweetness would be the hardcore title, even despite what I've said about disqualifications. If I can use pepper spray, the hardcore belt is almost tailor-made for me. Yeah. I'm going to go for something a little bit different here.
Okay.
And I'm going to bend the rules ever so slightly, so I do apologize.
That's fine.
I want my first opportunity to be in a Money in the Bank ladder match.
Wow, okay.
And the reason why I picked that is because it's a good way that I can attempt to ruin it for other people. I can pull people down from the ladder. I'll be on the outside where all the ladders are set up, and I'll be there just stomping the steps, just breaking the ladder so no one can climb up it.
Nice.
Like that will be my end goal. And obviously, like the big baby face will get the big ladder out from underneath the ring, and it's reinforced. Now I can't break it. And then I'll have a bit of an Otis moment where the case falls, I catch it, and I've accidentally won the Money in the Bank briefcase. Nice. Even though I didn't want to. I was only there to upset people, but suddenly I'm Sheriff Money in the Bank.
Sheriff Money in the Bank. I love it. You've got it. Okay, so which current or previous storyline would you have improved by being a part of?
Ooh. I feel I'm just going to go back to the Boss Man ones, but maybe just when I was just getting over, like having the bit of Big Show riding the casket as Boss Man's driving away, then I could just pop out the casket. They're like, oh, wasn't he? It's not even your dad. On top of everything else, you weren't even there. Or I guess as well, things that are, again, we're playing fast and loose with the meaning of improve here, but these are definitely storylines that I can interject myself with. But anything involving a man who's no stranger to the law, no stranger to the police, Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
Anytime that, he maybe walks past backstage, interacts with John Cena before walking past Booker T, before that word slips out of his mouth, Sheriff Sweetness will come in and go, That's not a good idea, Vince. Let's not.
I'm going to give you a ticket, Vince. That's what I'm going to do. I'm gonna give you
this is for your own good. We can add the Katie Vick storyline to that as well. We're just as soon as like Triple H climbs into the casket, I'll be like, don't do that. You're not doing that. Or he opens the casket and it's me, and it's like, What
are you doing in there? Nothing.
What are you doing in there?
You win the King of the Ring in your 5th year at the company. It's your most notable achievement since accidentally winning the Money in the Bank title briefcase. How do you deal with it? Do you embrace the King gimmick, or do you want to be seen as a serious contender instead of taking the gimmick?
100,000,000% I am embracing King Sheriff or King Sheriff. I might have to drop the Sheriff for that one and just be King Sweetness. I might lean fully into King Sweetness.
King Sweetness. I do like King Sweetness. I do like how things don't quite fit with King Sheriff Sweetness, but I do like King Sweetness as well.
It might just be like a slow Pokemon style evolution from Sheriff Sweetness to King Sheriff to King Sweetness. But I could still do all the same things, being almost like a dictator like presence as king, walking back instead of that'd be amazing actually. Instead of the Boris bike, I might even keep the Boris bike as well, but the Boris bike with the long red velvet trail going behind me as we're going backstage. I feel like that would suit King Sweetness perfectly. Remove the helmet, get a crown. That'd be amazing.
We think you've done an incredible job with the King Sweetness gimmick, and we've decided that we're going to give you a chance to headline WrestleMania and contend for any belt you wish for by winning the Royal Rumble. But what number do you enter the 30-man match?
Oh, I think I have to be number 1.
You are going to be number 1.
I'd have to be number 1. But again, this is going to be massively shitbag heel stuff. I'm gonna do the Kevin Owens spot where we're about to lock up. 1 and 2 are in the ring. I roll out the bottom rope. I'm like, no, I'm not doing this. And then the number 2 runs around. 2? Oh, it'd have to be a massive babyface. It'd have to be like, it'd have to be John Cena. Actually, thinking about it, John Cena will be the arch nemesis of Sheriff Sweetness. The rapping, I've had enough of the rapping. So,
so it's you and Cena starting off the Rumble, and you go, nah, I'm out.
Yeah, I'm out. He's running around. He might catch me. I might get a quick police brutality to the bollocks and continue running. Then the next person will come out, and I'll be like, I might have a bit on commentary. That'll be a big Royal Rumble moment for me as well. I can go to the mingle with the crowd. I can start giving people tickets. The camera pans out to the audience. I'm telling people I'm giving people a mop and bucket, because often when you go to live wrestling shows, people are spilling their popcorn and hot dogs and drinks. I'm like, no, I'm not having it. No. Here's a mop and bucket. Like, have some respect. So
you do win the Royal Rumble match, but who are the final 4? It is Sheriff Sweetness and 3 other superstars. Who are they?
John Cena.
Cena stayed in from number 2.
Cena is the Iron Man here.
Wow.
So he's come against all odds, and Sheriff Sweetness is here to ruin the party for John Cena. The number I'm going to go for absolute legends.
Yep.
For the final 4, so I'm going to go for The Undertaker.
Okay, so it's Sheriff Sweetness, Cena, Taker, and
Taker, because it'll also set up the 2 WrestleMania matches for this. It would have to be the big payoff between Cena and Sweetness, and just through pure selfishness, the Undertaker and Bray Wyatt, but Bray Wyatt has to win his match because he should have beat the Undertaker. Okay,
so it is Sheriff Sweetness, John Cena, The Undertaker, and Bray Wyatt in the final 4. Who's first out?
Undertaker can be first out.
Ow, Taker's out first. You stood there, yourself, Cena, and Wyatt. Who's next?
Then Cena will eliminate Bray Wyatt.
Cena
in true shitbag heel, he'll go for the attitude adjustment, the FU over the top rope. And on that final swing over the top, there comes Sheriff Sweetness. Big kick, swift kick to the bollocks. Single leg over the top rope he goes.
Done. Sheriff Sweetness wins the Royal Rumble. Nice. I like it. It's Monday Night Raw. The next it's Monday Night Raw after the Rumble. You come out. We want to know which title you're going for. Before we do, you win the Rumble, but do you point at the WrestleMania sign?
I will have to point to the WrestleMania sign. Beyond it being the thing that everyone does, and I'd like to be a bit unique and not be that person. It's good for the shot, isn't it? It's good for the shot. That's going to be plastered. Yeah, exactly. It's going to be plastered all over social media. There's no better self-promotion. In fact, the only thing different I would do is because usually people point to the sign and look at the crowd. I'd point to the sign and look directly into the hard cam or directly into the camera that's making the shot. I'm like, have you got this? Have you got this?
No. This is going to be framed and put on my wall. I need to know this.
Yeah.
So, this is the picture I'll be signing for the rest of my career.
Yeah. But in true Sheriff Sweetness style, I've no interest in belts. I have no interest in winning. I don't want a WrestleMania title shot. I don't want a WrestleMania main event. Then John Cena comes out and he says, that's too bad because I have got... And he brings out whatever. I'm going to say Stephanie McMahon is going to be the on-screen authority presence in this universe. And Stephanie McMahon comes out and she says, if you don't want to make a decision, we will make a decision for you. Wow. And that decision is going to come at a later date, which will be at the Elimination Chamber. It will be announced. And at the Elimination Chamber, John Cena has himself a world title opportunity because he is going to worm his way into a match with Sheriff Sweetness. He has nothing to gain from a match with Sheriff Sweetness apart from beating him up. And obviously being the shitbag, I am running away from that. I even enter the Elimination Chamber to try and usurp John Cena. But this is John Cena when he was proper Super Cena. There was nothing stopping John Cena. Swift kick to the bollocks, does nothing. The pepper spray, he wipes it off and laughs in my face.
You can't even see that pepper spray.
Oh, that is printing money. I can't see you. Well, you can't see anything.
You can't see me. You can't see anything. That's your Austin 316 moment.
Exactly.
Go on about you. You can't see me. Well, you can't see anything. What? That is the clip that will go viral.
Yeah, exactly. That's one that's going to be replayed. That'll be on the opening of every WWE show. Then, now, forever.
So Cena wins the title at the Elimination Chamber despite your best efforts.
Yeah, I'm lying in the ring, disappointed. I know I'm in for a world of hurt now. And as I'm looking up, praying to the heavens that they're going to take it easy on me, that something might happen, Stephanie McMahon's music hits and she confirms my biggest fear. It's going to be John Cena versus Sheriff Sweetness at WrestleMania.
For the title?
For the title.
Okay. Well, Cena and Stephanie are pleased that they've managed to force your way into this match. They've said, well, you have to take it now. But they do think that it's only fair that because they forced everything, that you should choose the stipulation of the match. So what style match are you going for against Cena for the title?
So the odds need to be stacked in my favor here. And we all know John Cena. John Cena, we could have a no disqualification match. We could have a cage match, a Hell in a Cell, Buried Alive, anything. There is nothing gimmick-wise that is going to possibly hinder John Cena here. Nothing. So I'm going to need to really stack the odds in my favor. He is allowed, first and foremost, no rapping.
No rapping. Okay.
No rapping. Rap's a band. Yeah. All rapping, whether it be, and that includes Pitbull. Pitbull is banned from the building. That happened a long time ago. The title can change hand on a disqualification.
Okay.
The title can change hand via count out.
Okay.
The title can change hands. I think that might be it, actually. Thinking about
Okay, is this a Sheriff Sweetness match? Have you created your own Punjabi prison match? Are you
It's
having a
sweetness
match up?
rules. It's sweetness rules. Yeah.
Sweetness rules. I like it. Sweetness rules match. Okay. Sweetness rules match. Okay. That's the match you're going for. And do you win?
Well, this is going to be where my character takes a little bit of evolution here because I've had no interest in winning any sort of championship, any sort of belt, anything in WWE thus far. However, if it means taking something away from John Cena, then I have to do it. It is my duty to do that. So come hell or high water, I will be winning that match. And I try numerous times throughout the match to pepper spray, he wipes it off. A count out, he's getting in at 9. My feet are on the ropes because that's legal as well. I can use weapons, but he can't. That's the thing.
Rules.
He can't use weapons. He'll get disqualified and lose the belt, but I can use weapons. Big swift kick to the bollocks. He laughs in my face like it was nothing. It feels like this is just going to be a big, good feeling babyface win for WrestleMania. And then the tide turns in my favor, and I'll basically just go rip off CM Punk. I will wrap a chain around my foot, and I will do multiple police brutalities to John Cena's bollocks.
Boo, boo, the crowd are hate.
Yeah. Kick out, John, kick out.
Heel.
And I'll be like, no. And eventually the 1, 2, 3. And my aim is for it to be as flat as when Brock Lesnar beat the streak. I want complete silence. My music isn't going to hit. It's just going to be stunned. Oh. Oh.
You're WWE champ, and you hold this title for at least until the next pay-per-view. But who do you eventually drop the title to?
Being a heel and being, we joke about my disdain for people. Not my disdain for people. I love people. But Sheriff Sweetness has a disdain for people. I understand that this is not my story, really. This is John Cena's story. I've been very passive aggressive with John. In fact, I was actually the reason why John Cena stopped rapping. When John Cena was, I actually stopped watching wrestling between 04 and 09.
Yeah.
And when I stopped watching wrestling, John Cena was rapping. And when I came back, he never rapped. And I was like, oh, this is weird. So it gives me
era. You missed the passive aggression era. That's what
exactly. And it gives me real ammunition to be even more passive aggressive with John Cena and say, John, you sure about this not rapping? Because it was kind of all you had, It's kind of the only bit of personality you had. But yeah, this is John Cena's storyline, so I'm gonna have to drop it to John. But I want a good run. I want at least the Jinder run. How long did Jinder hold the belt for? 6 months? 3 months?
Yeah, about 6 months.
It felt like a lot longer.
I mean, honestly, I'm saying 6 months in my head, but it wouldn't surprise me if it was like 2. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It felt like forever.
You only had one person he defended against, and that was Randy Orton, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Well, you're going to have the title for 6 months, I've decided. You give it for 6 months. Okay, and you drop it to Cena. Well, you've had quite a good career where you're forever rememberable. Everyone loves Sheriff Sweetness. Some people prefer King Sweetness. We don't know. Everybody loves you, but the gimmick changes, and it's up to them.
Again, we can monetize them persona cards in WWE 2K38 or whatever it will be at that time.
Yeah, we can. And we're coming to the end of your career, but are you fired or are you retired?
I will take the cop-out route. I will kind of neither. I will ride off into the sunset with no fanfare because I don't think this is a heel character. This is a heel character that doesn't deserve any sort of fanfare. I was never really liked by anyone. I kind of just got in people's way, really. Yeah. Even the wrestlers backstage and the writers were not massive fans of Sheriff Sweetness. So I will be unceremoniously dumped into the back of a police van after tax evasion, and
IRS picks you up. That's what happens.
yeah, maybe one too many police brutality. No, and I will ride off, never to be seen again.
Are you a serious contender for the Hall of Fame, or do you become a forgotten legend?
Again, I don't think it's up to me. It'd be up to what the people think, how many YouTube clicks that my top 10 moments got when it came out and gets re-released and reposted.
Let's think about it. You know, you've won the Money in the Bank by accident. You're a Rumble winner. You held the title for 6 months. There is just
big
a
WrestleMania moment. Yeah. I would like, and I don't think anyone might even say this, I would like a Hall of Fame induction, as everyone would. Okay. Let's be realistic. Everyone would love a Hall of Fame induction, but it has to be posthumously.
Okay.
It has to be gone, because I think that'd be the perfect way to go. Because every time someone gets inducted posthumously, there's ironically a lot of passive aggressive tweets online and a lot of people going, "Oh, they've waited until he's dead to get him in the Hall of Fame." Another missed opportunity, Triple H. Well done. So that's going to be the second part of my legacy. My legacy is going to be, when I go, that passive aggressive, or passive aggression, however you say it, is going to live on online through the fans.
What? Okay, so it was humorously. So who inducts you and who receives your award for you?
Again, I think that might have to be John Cena.
So does Cena induct or does Cena receive?
John Cena can do both. I think he's a man of many trades. Like, we've talked a lot of shit about John Cena, but he is a very talented man, isn't he?
You know, I would like Cena to induct you and then a Doctor of Thugonomics to receive. That's
yes. Oh my God. If he can rap my induction speech and get booed out of the building, that would be better than Kurt Angle busting out the milk during his Hall of Fame speech. I love it.
That's the career. Stuart, thank you so much for coming onto the podcast. I'm going to wish you well on your future endeavors. Stuart, yeah, you're fired.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
And there you have it, my friends. There is the most recent episode of What's Your Gimmick? Thank you so much for downloading and listening to this podcast. I really enjoyed doing it, and I hope you really enjoy listening to it. If you do, please give us a subscribe, tell your friends about it, and if you really want to, please give us 5 stars. That really helps other people finding the podcast. Until next time, my friends, see you soon.
Masks and capes, they're all the same. Heels and faces play the game. I'll drive a heartbeat's claim. Cow will put you in the frame. What's your gimmick? Let it show. GG wants to know. In the spotlight, let it flow. Cal Howard, steal the show. Talk the talk, you walk the walk. Give the crowd the wrestling shock. Turnbuckle dreams in concrete chalk. Gene will let the secrets unlock. What's your gimmick? Feel the fire. Cut a promo, lift you higher. Genie fuels the desire. Cal's your guide through the wire. What's your gimmick? Let it show. Genie wants to know. In the spotlight, let it flow. Cal Howard, steal the show. What's your gimmick? Let it show. Genie wants to know. In the spotlight, let it flow. Cal Howard, steal the show.
You've been listening to a Calvert Media production.